In this lesson, we're going to set up our After Effects project file and begin creating the design for our user interface. Alright, so here in After Effects, what we want to do is just double click in the project panel and import our undistorted footage from the clips folder. This is what we exported from PFTrack in the previous lesson. And there we have it. And I'm just going to make a new folder for that and just call it clips. I'll put it in there. And then what we want to do with that is just drag it into a new composition. And I'll bring this down here, maybe make a new folder for that and call it comps. And this here can be our main comp. And we'll put this inside there. And what we want to do with this composition is find our matchmove camera and also put it in here so that we can work inside this composition. So let's double click and import from the cameras folder the matchmove After Effects. Okay, so that'll be imported as a composition and bring all its null objects with it. We can put that inside the comps, and the name matchmove AE is fine. So let's just double click on that. We have all our null objects, but what we're interested in is the camera. We don't actually need these null objects because in PFTrack we set the ground plane to be the desk, and that's all we really need to know because this entire user interface takes place on this desk, which is 000 in world space. And you'll notice that the camera is 1 frame short, and that's just because of the PFTrack export, but we can just extend that. We do have the keyframe, so that's all good. Alright, so once we have the camera in here, what we might want to do is just test that everything's working fine by creating a new solid and making that a 3D layer and hitting F4 if you don't see that, and then zeroing out the position, so 0 tab 0 tab 0, and that sets it right at the origin that we set in PFTrack. And now let's hit R for rotation, and let's rotate it on the X to be plus 90, and then let's spin it around, so maybe minus 90. And just to test the match move, we can add a grid effect, which I've typed in here, and we can just drag that on there, and we can see our grid just to make sure that everything's working fine. And yes, indeed it is. So once we know our match move is good, I can remove this here. And what we want to do is just set up the project. I've already saved it, and make sure you save your project so that you get access to the autosave. And what we want to do is change this from 8 bits per channel to float, and we want to work linearly so we get the best possible looking blurs, because we'll have motion blur in our motion graphics. Alright, so once that's done, let's just talk a little bit about the design. I've just imported the end result, and what's important about an effect like this is to know exactly what you want before you film it. I knew exactly, well, roughly where I wanted to click on the desk, just so that when I had filmed everything, it sort of looked like a coherent end result, as opposed to if I had just randomly clicked on the desk in different places. That would have made the motion design process much more tedious, because I would have had to work around wherever I happened to be clicking and design the user interface around where I happened to point my finger, as opposed to knowing that I wanted to click, say, here, here, there, up there, and then do the scroll text. So you'll see that occasionally I sort of don't click exactly in the middle of where the icons are, and as you can see there, and that's obviously just because you know, when you're clicking randomly on a desk, it is quite hard to you know, get exactly where you want. But overall, it's sort of, I've roughly clicked in the right spots, and I've sort of had to design this interface a little bit around where I happen to have clicked. For example, if I wanted, say, instead of 2, 4, 6, 7 circles, I wanted 8, well, maybe where I clicked around these, if I had 8 circles, actually wouldn't have lined up. So we are restricted based on wherever I happen to click, but I had the design thought out beforehand, which will make the motion design process a lot easier. So I knew that I wanted to have a circular design, and I also wanted to make it sort of like a computer that we would use today. So as it starts up, we can see we have, this is a Windows computer. We actually have some detail in here saying what type of computer and what user it is. Obviously you can't really see it in the motion blur. There it is, it's James PC and it's Windows 8 64-bit. And so we just got some icons around here, just some general settings, maybe some hardware settings, microphone settings. And also we have the computer hard drives. So that's W drive, C drive. Anyone on a Windows computer will know that Windows labels their drives letters, based on letters. And also what we have here is the capacity, which is a little difficult to see, but this is W drive, and this one's maybe 60% full, and C drive is maybe 80% full. So we can show a lot of information in here using circles. Again, it's important to keep the circular design. And I also knew that I wanted a very minimalist sort of design, and you can see that most of the icons here reflect that. These are sort of Metro style icons, and to find these I just went on DeviantArt and just searched for lots of people create Metro icon packs so that they can have all these Metro icons on their computer. So you can just download those, and that way everything will sort of have the same sort of design. And also knew that I wanted 2 of these panels to pop up, because once I select which drive I want to use, which in this case is W drive, this console sort of disappears, and by pressing W drive we're now accessing all the programs on W drive. So you can see that we have W drive, it's again 60% full, and all the icons that I have, all these programs that I have installed on W drive now pop up. And we access the Google tab. I knew I wanted to access the Google tab because Google has so many programs that I could easily fill all 7 slots. We've got Google+, Google Earth, Google Drive, Gmail, YouTube, and also we can see that the W drive turns into Google. So this is the Google console, and then we access Google Drive. And we have Word, PowerPoint presentations, and Excel documents. Again, I knew that I wanted to, for the end bit, access a Word document so that I could access this scroll feature. And this is actually just the Google Drive. Sort of I screenshotted that and sort of added some lorem ipsum text here. And that allows us to access a program that scrolls, because I knew that I wanted to show off this cool scrolling effect here. Because as you all know, it's really fun to scroll on any touchscreen device and have these really cool animations where they sort of ease in and out and then bounce. So I really wanted to show that, and by accessing Google Drive and then going to a Word document, I guess you could have also maybe changed this to maybe the Windows Office suite, and then we could have had Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. But I thought it'd be cool to add Google Drive just because it has, especially the Google Word, it has a very minimalistic interface. So now that we've discussed the design, let's begin by just coming back to the main comp and setting this up. So what we want to do is create all our elements in one composition. And the reason for that is it's very hard to tell, but this actually has a subtle bevel. And you would notice it if it wasn't here. It would look a lot more plain, but basically this design here has actually been duplicated quite a few times, and it fades off as it goes down in Z-space. So this will become more obvious later on, but if we plan for it now, it's going to make the whole process a lot easier. So what we'll do in the next lesson is begin marking out where our character points and begin creating our actual design.